And it's BBOR, Black Box Online Radio, coming to you from West Virginia. So, I'm just about to head into work now, but I had this recommendation from YouTube actually to do a sort of day in the life of or show how the YouTube channel is recorded. First of all, thank you to everybody who has left comments, subscribed, and done everything with the YouTube channel. Couldn't do it without you guys. You are all excellent. Keep it up. Now, I'm just about to go into work because I work a day job just like everybody else. And we had a comment come in on the Instagram page, BlackBoxNet88 on Instagram, asking, how do you find the time to do all of the recordings if you're also working a job? And it's really just about finding at least 2 or 3 hours throughout the day to put them aside. Like right now, it's in the afternoon, so I'm going to be doing the afternoon evening shift, and then that means in the morning I will have at least 2 hours that I put aside just to read up on BBOR and do watch some documentaries, listening to podcasts on various subjects, and now with the AMAs that we do Wednesday, AMA Wednesday, that we can read off your questions and comments and have a discussion. So those require a little bit less preparation, but I'm going to be going into work now, and I'll share some other things with you guys throughout the day. I also wanted to share some things about the research process for Black Box Online Radio. And I remember this one interview with Woody Allen that he did back when I was in college. And he talked about how, in terms of preparing for working on a film, he was a very heavy reader. And that was where he really got a lot of his inspiration from, just the exchange of different ideas. And I hated reading as a kid, but I tried my best to become somewhat of a heavy reader as well. All different types of sources. I mean, this one's on ecology, spirituality, and culture. I mean, this is even just a book about different types of designs that you can use when making pies. I've never tried it, but I like reading about the stuff. Bird watching is something that is very good to do in West Virginia. Any type of different source. And of course, we have some things about the Zodiac Killer as well. But that really is where the foundation of a lot of the things with BBOR comes from. Free reading, watching documentaries, listening to podcasts, and finding out what do you want to say about it. And a lot of people ask the question about how do you find the time to make this type of content. Most of it is a mental planning process. Most of it is working like just inside one's own mind and just be like, okay, I'm going to start with this, and then I'm going to say this sentence, and then we're going to do this segment, and then it's going to go into this type of discussion. So a lot of the process is really done in a mental way. But some things about getting the YouTube channel in order were really not that difficult to arrange because I did all of this stuff before I ever put anything out on the internet. Like, for example, I would watch documentaries about conspiracy theories and true crime and the Zodiac Killer, of course, but any type of subject, even some of these more things about like the deep state and the shadow government. I followed all of that stuff just like anybody else would, and I would always kind of think about what would I say if I were going to put something out online, or I definitely knew that I had things that I wanted to share on the internet, but I didn't quite know what to do with them. And then in 2017, just on a whim, I decided to start the YouTube channel called Black Box Online Radio. I was actually out looking at an apartment that I was hopefully going to rent, and I was just kind of walking, with their real estate agent or building manager, whatever you would want to call them. And then I was like, I have an idea. And then I just kind of hurried home and then I did the first episode. Also, coffee is a big part of BBOR. I could never make it through the day without coffee. Like, these are some Starbucks blends. This is the Italian roast. That's probably the best one that I have. This here is it's actually a combination of all the different flavored coffees in the house. It says this Highlander grog, butterscotch coffee, rum and butterscotch flavor. It's actually something with chocolate, butterscotch, and some of the holiday blend, which was just called Holiday Spice. And I probably do 6 or 7 cups of coffee a day. I mean, I could never live without it. And then after 6 p.m., that's when I switch over to tea. Um, and I'm going through the stuff all night, any different, all types of kind. It doesn't really matter what kind of tea I'm drinking as long as I have something. I'm one of those people that carries the travel mug around with me most of the time, where I'm always pouring a cup of something in the house, and that's how I get my energy. It might seem weird that using all of these different types of books for things like that would help you think about the true crime world. I mean, if you're talking about things like making pies or bird watching, but it's just back to that thing about the different types of ideas and the way that ideas and sentences are structured. Because I was at this one kind of like a presentation dinner or something. Somebody was being inducted to an honor society back in college, and I was just her plus one. She was just a friend, and she invited me to go with her as a plus one. And they did this, set of speeches, and somebody said one thing: if you want to be a writer, do you like sentences? And it's the same for putting up material on YouTube because you learn about maybe this is the way that this person is thinking, these are the way that these sentences are structured. So, I mean, when I'm learning about the creative process for the book about pie making or bird watching or novels, even, although I really don't read too many novels, those things that you hear about on online about, maybe men lean more toward nonfiction, it's mostly true. A novel that I've been working on nonstop has been Ice Station by Matt Riley. I read a little bit of it every now and then for the past 10 years. I got that as a Christmas gift about 10 years ago, and just pick it up from time to time. I try to be a heavy reader, but I am the slowest reader in the world, as you see, 10 years on one novel. No, but with some of these Zodiac Killer books, it goes along a little bit faster. Back in 2019, I had this idea of, hey, why don't I read a book on YouTube? Like, well, this will be a great way to keep myself on track. And in a 20-minute segment on YouTube, it's like I could get through 2 pages of a book. It was just, it's amazing how much, like you just come across these sentences that you just want to share more about. And in regards to that, I was reading the book A Mindful Nation by Tim Ryan, and he had a thing in there. That is when you get so overwhelmed with emotion, then you can't focus on the reading. Like you're reading along with a sentence, right, and you come across a particular word. I mean, like you see this book, 40 Days. If you come across the word 40, then you're going to be like, oh my gosh, I remember something else about 40, maybe 40 ounces or something like that. And then your brain just starts thinking about something else. It can be done in a good way or in a bad way, like in a positive emotion or a negative emotion. And I was like that growing up so much. I actively chose not to read. I hated reading. Um, even to the point where like I refused to read for school and my mother just started slapping me in the face once because I said I hated reading. And I remember that incident and I was really thinking like at that point I was like 10 or 11 and I was like, this isn't really hurting me physically, but I'm just like, is this really necessary? But the book of Mindful Nation by Tim Ryan is all about that stuff, saying mostly when parents and teachers have someone who isn't really good at concentrating on things, then what they do is they try to use what is called over control. They try to over control the situation. It could be a noun or a verb. And that's the way that dealt with things growing up. But in reality, it's just that certain words re- force you to experience an emotion that overwhelms you, and then you start thinking about something else. And I was always all over the map. I mean, mostly growing up, it was like childhood imagination all the time. And I'd say childhood imagination really carried on into my teen years for me. And then by the time I was 18, it really began to kind of decrease, or less. I was thinking a lot less about things like slaying dragons and such, and more about thinking about myself. I definitely was caught up in daydreaming until I was about 23 or something like that, and well, it really was just kind of all over the map. But there are these things about between the ages of 16 and 25, especially with males, that's like the zenith of creativity, right in the middle. It's also the zenith of deviant behavior. And for me at age 20, all of that was true. So I was a very problematic individual. I never wanted to read at school. I had terrible grades. But I guess I got out of that phase a little bit in my later 20s, and um, as also just finding someone who is a little bit motivating to you to kind of encourage you to explore different ideas and just to think about composing sentences and composing paragraphs and how to put all of that together, because when you're doing something like recording a podcast, it's not only about like what they tell you in school. You need a topic sentence and your supporting points. It's like this is your thesis statement and your 3 point paragraph structure. No, it's more just about a continuous flow of expression, and you can go in different directions, and there are no time limits, so you can always kind of come back to a different subject, or if you do go off on some tangent about something that your emotions have triggered, then you can come back to the thing where you're supposed to be on point with. So, yeah, like I guess I really put aside maybe an hour, 2 hour, 3 hours a day for doing the research for something like BBOR. And before I did this stuff on YouTube, I as I said, I really followed the material, but in 2016 and 17, right before starting the channel, I would go through a biography of one president every day. I did all 45 presidents, I guess 46 at the time. I didn't do Joe Biden because he wasn't around yet, but I would do that, just documentaries, the History Channel, all about the presidents. And then after, like, actually, before that stuff as well, like, I was working a lot more hours, doing a lot of double shifts in 2016 and 17. So all my energy was just focused on work. But I've definitely gone through phases when I become just kind of engulfed in the true crime world. And true crime is popular for a couple of reasons. Um, you want to connect with the victims, human empathy. I find that people who follow true crime are very empathetic, as well as they also have this curiosity about death. I mean, some people have morbid curiosity, and then there's what I like to call miserable curiosity. That's what I experience. Things that would make the average person miserable, but, well, you just still want to know what's going on. And that has set me back in life so much because, like, it's like when I was in high school, and I'm just like, what would it be like to live in a van? Doesn't that sound like fun? And some people would think that that would be terrible to be homeless and living in a van, but I was like, that type of miserable curiosity, or um, I think you can get the idea there. And just to sign off, I would like to ask, what is your favorite type of coffee or tea? That could be our challenge question for the day. And please share that in the comment section below. If you like this episode, you can always hit that like button. And if you haven't subscribed yet, you're welcome to do so. But most importantly, please put something in the comment section, and you can write the show at BlackBoxOnlineRadio at AOL.com and BlackBoxNet88 on Instagram for the bonus podcast. Until next time.